Agatha was a fearless market woman known across the village for her sharp tongue and obsession with money. But everything changed the day she dragged a debtor's corpse home over an unpaid debt, and the ghost came calling. Haunted by guilt and a voice from beyond the grave, Agatha begins a journey of shame, redemption, and transformation. This is the powerful story of how a hardened traitor became a symbol of mercy and grace. Sit back, relax, and find out what happened in this wonderful story. The midday sun roasted the open market, but Agatha stood firm at her stand, her wrappers tied tightly around her waist and sweat glistening on her forehead. She was a tall, broad-shouldered woman with a striking face that turned heads, but it wasn't her beauty people remembered. It was her voice, loud and thunderous, often echoing through the stalls whenever a customer dared to owe her or play smart. Her stall, neatly arranged with provisions, rice, beans, palm oil, and soap, was one of the busiest, but also the most feared. People came to her because her goods were clean, fairly priced, and of high quality. But once you owed Agatha, even a spoon of salt, you'd better be ready for war. She had earned the nickname, Market Lioness, not because she roared, but because she attacked. Not physically all the time, but with words that sliced through skin and sank into bone. One time, a man tried to buy on credit and promised to pay the next market day. When he came back empty-handed, Agatha tied her wrapper, removed her slippers, and dragged him from one end of the market to the other, shouting, "You want to use my sweat to play Ludo? Not in this life." The man wept in shame. Others watched in silence, knowing better than to cross her. Even the market chairman was scared of Agatha. She didn't fear police. She didn't fear curses. She didn't fear anyone. All she respected was money. Many had tried to win her heart, handsome bachelors, widowers, rich traders. But the moment any man raised his voice or delayed in paying for anything, Agatha would turn from sweetheart to storm. And so, years passed, and her beauty was like untouched treasure. But it wasn't love she chased. It was money, only money. Agatha's fame had grown beyond her local market. Even traders from neighboring towns knew the name and whispered stories of her madness with money. Some said she once cursed a woman who owed her 3,000 nairas, and the woman's yam business collapsed overnight. Others claimed she had no heart, that she would slap a pastor if he delayed in paying her for candles. Whether true or exaggerated, everyone agreed on one thing: Agatha did not joke with money. To owe her was to call thunder into your life. Despite her fierce nature, Agatha was disciplined and hardworking. She woke before dawn, swept her stall, prayed in her own quiet way, and arranged her goods with precision. She had no employees, trusting no one with her business. "Only money never betrays," she would say, counting her cash with speed and accuracy. Her customers respected her business acumen, even when they trembled at her presence. Most paid her up front just to avoid her wrath. But behind the strength was a woman who had known hunger and heartbreak. Her childhood was tough. Her mother died when she was just 10, and her father was a gambler who sold everything they had. She had to hawk groundnuts in the rain, fight for space in the market, and sleep in a shop when she had no roof. That pain shaped her. It taught her that love failed, people lied, but money never disappointed. Some said Agatha needed love. Others said she needed deliverance. But suitors came and left like shadows. One man tried to marry her, but when he asked her for 5,000 nairas to fix his generator, Agatha shouted, "So you want to start with debt? That's your proposal? God forbid." That was the end. To Agatha, money was respect. Money was power. Money was peace. And if you tampered with her peace, you'd see the lioness. Among all her customers, there was one man Agatha respected, Stephen. He was a middle-aged man, soft-spoken, gentle, and always neat. A civil servant who supplemented his income by buying goods from Agatha on credit and reselling in his office. Unlike others, Stephen never failed to pay. He would take goods worth 20,000 nairas today, and by the end of the week, he'd show up. Clean haircut, polite smile, and full payment in hand. Sometimes, he even added a little extra. "Agatha, keep the change," he would say, handing her an envelope. And Agatha, who never smiled easily, would nod and say, "You be correct, man." Over time, Stephen became more than just a customer. He became the only person Agatha allowed to take goods without signing her famous debt book, a brown hardcover filled with names and dates. He was the only one she sometimes gave chilled malt to, on a hot afternoon, without charging for it. People started talking. Agatha day fall in love. The younger traders would tease. But Agatha would wave them off. "Love is for people with spare change. My own is hustle," she always replied. Still, it was clear she trusted Stephen more than anyone. She even laughed at his jokes, something the market hadn't seen in years. And when Stephen once fell ill and couldn't come for 2 weeks, Agatha sent someone to check on him. "Tell him I day greet am," she said, carefully choosing her words. But one day, Stephen came to her shop looking worried. His mother had just passed, and he needed to host some family members. "Agatha, please let me collect goods worth 42,000 nairas. I'll pay first week of next month," he said gently. Agatha looked at him for a long time, then nodded. "No wahala. Just make sure say you pay." Those words would become the beginning of a storm she never imagined. The weeks passed slowly, and Agatha waited for Stephen's return with confidence. She wasn't worried. This was Stephen, her trusted customer, her quiet friend. He always paid, sometimes early. So when the first week of the new month came and passed without seeing him, she told herself he was probably busy. When the second week ended and his phone number stopped going through, she grew uneasy. Maybe he traveled, she murmured while repacking her bags of rice. But by the third week, whispers began flying around the market like dry leaves in harmattan. That was when Ebere, the spice seller across from Agatha, walked up to her with fear in her eyes. "Agatha, you never hear?" she asked softly. "Hear what?" Agatha replied, frowning as she counted her sales. "Stephen, he don't die," Ebere said, voice trembling. Agatha dropped the money in her hand. "What did you say?" "They say he collapsed inside his bathroom last week. Him brother come market to buy something. Nah him tell us. They want to bury him this weekend." For a full minute, Agatha didn't say a word. Her face went blank, her strong hands frozen in the air. Then slowly, her jaw tightened. "So, Stephen die with my 42,000 nairas just like that?" Eber's eyes widened. "Agatha, no talk like that. Person die. Which kind death be that? You collect goods, you no pay, then you die? So I should just forget my money? A beg, calm down. Nah death matter be this." Agatha's voice rose like thunder. "And nah money matter be my own. That man owe me 42,000 nairas. That one fit rest inside grave? No way. Funeral or no funeral, I must get my money." The market women stared at her, some crossing themselves. But Agatha had made up her mind. She would go to the funeral. Not to mourn, but to collect her money. The day of the funeral arrived. The entire neighborhood of Obinagu was quiet as a hearse rolled down the dusty road toward Stephen's family compound. Men in black, women in white headscarves, and children stood along the path, mourning a man who had touched many lives. Inside the compound, canopies were arranged, chairs lined up, and a photo of Stephen, smiling in his last birthday shirt, was placed on a table surrounded by wreaths. Agatha arrived late. She didn't dress like a mourner. Instead, she wore a deep red wrapper and a matching blouse with bold golden embroidery that read, "Pay me my money." Her lips were tight, her eyes blazing like coals. As she entered the crowd, people shifted uneasily, whispering, "Nah, Agatha be that. She no fit try anything here, Abby?" But Agatha was not a woman who listened to murmurs. She walked straight to the front, where Stephen's coffin lay open for final respects. His family members were gathered, many with swollen eyes and handkerchiefs soaked in tears. Stephen's younger brother, Chijoke, was reading a tribute when Agatha raised her voice like a drumbeat. "Wait, before Una talk too much, where my money?" The microphone dropped. Murmurs turned into gasps. A wail from Stephen's mother froze. Chijoke stared at her in disbelief. "Madam Agatha, please. This is not the time. This is the exact time." Agatha shouted. "Stephen collected 42,000 naira's goods from me. I need my money before he enter that grave." People rushed to calm her down. Some begged, some pleaded, some wept harder, thinking the devil had come to ruin the burial. But Agatha was unmoved. "If you people no pay me now, nobody go bury this man. I no come here to pity, I come for business." She looked around, saw no one brave enough to challenge her, and then, in the most shocking act of the day, she walked up, shut the coffin, grabbed the casket with shocking strength, lifted it to her head with the help of her apprentice, and walked away. Gasps filled the air. Stephen's mother fainted. People cried out, but no one dared stop Agatha. She had just stolen a corpse, and the whole town would never forget it. Agatha marched through the dusty village path with the coffin on her head like it was a bag of Gary. Her apprentice, Okachukwu, followed closely behind, sweating and trembling. The villagers watched from their windows and doorways, some too shocked to speak, others shaking their heads in disbelief. Children cried, elders crossed themselves, but nobody dared step in front of her. When she got to her compound, she dropped the coffin in the middle of her sitting room with a loud thud. The sound echoed through the quiet house like thunder. She stood over it, breathing heavily, then pointed at it and shouted, "Until I see my 42,000 nairas, this man no day go anywhere." Okachukwu swallowed hard. "Auntie, are you sure we should keep a dead body inside the house?" Agatha shot him a sharp glance. "You day mad? You no hear say na my money day inside this box? Na corpse you day see. Me, I day see debt." She pulled out a bench and sat beside the coffin like a night watch. Her arms were folded, eyes fixed. She refused food, refused sleep, even refused her usual bottle of Fanta. All she could think of was the money. Her sweat, her goods, her trust, betrayed by death. But around midnight, the house changed. First, it was the door creaking on its own. Then the light bulb flickered and went out. A cold wind swept through the room even though the windows were shut. Agatha stood up slowly, heart pounding. Then she heard it, a knock. From inside the coffin. Agatha froze. Okachukwu, who had been sleeping on the floor, screamed and ran out of the house, barefoot. The knock came again, followed by a soft groan. "Agatha, Agatha." She turned pale. The coffin shifted slightly, and for the first time in her life, the market lioness felt something more powerful than anger. She felt fear, real fear. Agatha backed away from the coffin, her legs trembling. She had fought men twice her size, cursed policemen, and even wrestled a goat thief in broad daylight. But nothing, absolutely nothing, had prepared her for the eerie sound of her name crawling out of a dead man's coffin. Agatha, pay me peace, let me rest. She wanted to scream, but her throat locked. The room grew colder. A shadow moved across the wall, even though there was no light. Then the coffin creaked open slowly, inch by inch. She fell to the floor, crawling backward until her back hit the wall. Jesus. Stephen, a beg no vex. I no mean 'em like that. But Stephen's pale, ghostly figure rose halfway from the coffin, eyes hollow, face sad. He didn't speak again, but pointed slowly to her chest, then to his heart. Agatha burst into tears. I go return am. I swear, I go carry you back myself. Just no kill me. The figure faded. The light bulb came back on. The room warmed up. But Agatha knew what had happened wasn't a dream. She sat on the floor till dawn, soaked in sweat and regret. By morning, Agatha didn't wait for anyone. She wrapped the coffin with a borrowed wrapper, cleaned Stephen's face, and placed him gently back inside. Alone, without fanfare, she lifted the casket onto a borrowed wheelbarrow and began the long walk back to Stephen's family compound. Villagers gathered along the road, murmuring. Some mocked, some prayed, others were too stunned to speak. But Agatha didn't answer anyone. Her head was low, her eyes puffy, her voice silent. When she reached the gate, Stephen's mother was sitting outside, mourning. She stood up in shock. Agatha, why? Agatha knelt, her hands shaking. Mama, I no get excuse. I wrong you. I wrong em. I wrong everybody. I day beg. I day return am. Silence followed. Then, slowly, Stephen's brothers came forward, lifted the coffin, and carried it inside. No one said a word. But everyone knew something inside Agatha had died that night too. When Agatha returned to the market the next day, the air shifted. No one jeered. No one mocked her. Instead, people stared with strange curiosity. Was it pity? Was it fear? Or was it something deeper? Ebere, her gossip partner turned witness, walked up with a bowl of okpa. You never chopped since yesterday, Agatha. Take, eat. Agatha looked up slowly, eyes tired. Thank you. That was the first time she had said those words in public. Word had spread like wildfire. Everyone had heard about the ghost. Some doubted, others believed, but all agreed that something in Agatha had cracked. She no longer shouted at customers. She no longer barked prices like gunshots. And for the first time in 10 years, she reduced the price of her beans without being begged. On Sunday morning, something no one expected happened. Agatha wore a modest gown and walked into the local church. People whispered. Even the pastor paused when he saw her. She walked to the altar during testimony time, cleared her throat, and took the mic. I don't do things way no good. I don't value money pass human being. But God teach me lesson. I no want that kind lesson again. Make Una forgive me. Make God forgive me. The church was quiet. Then applause broke out. Even the pastor nodded, eyes moist. That day, Agatha cried through the entire service. And the market woman they once feared became the woman they began to pray for. A week later, Chijoke, Stephen's brother, came to Agatha's stall holding a brown envelope. Stephen wrote this before he died. He left letters for a few people. This one was for you. Agatha opened it with shaky hands. Agatha, if you're reading this, then I didn't make it. Please don't be angry. I was going to pay you. You trusted me. You treated me like a human being, not just a customer. Thank you for believing in me. Whatever happens, I hope you forgive me. And yourself too. Your friend, Stephen. Agatha held the letter to her chest and wept. Weeks passed, and Agatha noticed something unusual. Her stall became quieter. The usual crowd of customers began thinning. New petty traders with shiny umbrellas and catchy slogans were now grabbing attention. She didn't complain. She didn't shout. Instead, she called Okachukwu and said, "Let them sell. Me, I want sell peace now." Her heart no longer raced at the sound of credit or delay. And when a woman mistakenly gave her 500 nairas instead of 1,500 nairas, she called her back and returned it. People began to respect her in a new way. Not out of fear, but out of grace. The transformation was gradual but sure. Agatha started smiling more. She visited Stephen's grave monthly. She even offered prayers there. She joined the local women's association and helped pay dues for 3 widows. She began giving advice to younger traders. "Money is good," she said one day, "but if not only money you get, you poor." People listened, and little by little, the story of her madness faded. What remained was the story of a woman reborn. One morning, Okachukwu walked into the shop and saw a small envelope with his name on it. Inside was a letter and 20,000 nairas. "Thank you for not running completely. You stayed. This is for you. Start small. I believe in you." He blinked fast to stop his tears. Agatha smiled and said, "Go buy your own umbrella. Begin your own." He knelt and thanked her. And so, the cycle of mercy began. Months later, a man named Urins, who once asked for her hand but ran away after one heated argument, returned. He stood before her stall, cap in hand, with a calm voice. "Agatha, I hear say you change. I no come to collect. I come to appreciate." Agatha laughed for the first time in public. "Nah, who tell you say I change?" He smiled. "The way you day smile now. That one loud pass trumpet." She chuckled. And for once, the conversation didn't end in shouting. Agatha started a small program every Friday. She called it Friday Mercy. She gave out small goods to struggling women and taught them about business. She also shared her story, the full one. Even the shameful parts. "I carry dead body because of money," she would say. "But that same dead body gave me life." The women listened. They laughed. They cried. And they learned. Stephen's mother visited Agatha one afternoon, carrying a basket of ripe plantains. "My son liked you. He respected you. You were hard, but you were honest." Agatha welcomed her in, prepared food, and both women ate and cried together. Old wounds began to heal. One evening, while closing her stall, Agatha looked up at the sky. The stars blinked like soft apologies. The breeze danced gently, not like the night Stephen came. She closed her stall and whispered, "Thank you." She wasn't thanking the sky. She was thanking the lesson. Pain had redefined her, but grace had redeemed her. In December, during the market's end-of-year event, Agatha was called to the stage. The chairman said, "We used to fear her. Now, we follow her. This woman is our lesson. Our sister. Our lioness turned light." They gave her a plaque, Market Woman of the Year, for strength and growth. Tears rolled down her cheeks. This time, she didn't hide them. 1 year after Stephen's death, Agatha stood at his grave again. She laid down white flowers and whispered, "Thank you for haunting me. It saved my soul." The wind rustled the leaves gently. She turned back, head high, eyes calm. Agatha the money lioness was now Agatha the merciful. And her story would forever remind everyone. When money becomes more important than people, even the dead may rise to teach you sense. Money is important, but when it blinds us to the value of human life, it becomes a curse. Agatha's story reminds us that no matter how far we go in greed or pride, redemption is still possible if we are humble enough to learn and change. In the end, love and compassion are worth more than any debt ever owed. What's the lesson you learned from this story? Drop it in the comment section because I will like to read them. And guess what? I have another amazing story coming up soon. So subscribe now and join the Firelight Tale family so you will be the first person to watch it when it drops. Thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate